And welcome everyone to another exciting edition of Triple Threat Talk. Tonight we have a very special guest with us. We have the Apex Predator, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Randy Orton!
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Randy, thank you for being here with us tonight.
No problem.
So, this Sunday you have a match against a man who has decimated the roster of SmackDown, putting them all into the Hall of Pain. How are you going to react to this on Sunday?
Well, first of all, Mark Henry thinks he's going to put me in the Hall of Pain, but really, the only pain that's going to be handed out is when I give Mark Henry the RKO, and I retain my World Heavyweight Championship.
Well, thank you very much for those words. Oh! And I'm sorry, Randy, but we've got Cody Rhodes, who's also apparently joining us here on Triple Threat Talk. Mr. Rhodes, how? It's very good to have you on the show with us tonight, you and Randy Orton. What's on your mind?
First of all, give me that microphone.
You're going to bag me,
Give me that
aren't you?
microphone. Your ugliness offends me.
I'm sorry.
Randy, good luck this Sunday in your match against Mark Henry. You're going to need it. I beat you in Monday Night Raw in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. It's only a matter of time before I do it again for that world title. You see this, Randy? You see this Intercontinental Championship? It means I'm one step closer to becoming the world champion. You know what? This Sunday, I'm actually rooting for Mark Henry to win your match. Because you know, if you win, Randy, beating you for the world title, it's going to be so easy, Randy. By the way, your ugliness offends me. Oh yeah, Randy. And one more thing. Oh!
And welcome everyone to another exciting edition of Triple Threat Talk. Today we've got a lot of stuff.
Doctor.
What are you all staring at?
Doctor, what is this?
This is my pet dinosaur.
Why you have it?
Because I went 10-6. This is the top dino award.
That's
for Triple
right.
Threat
The
Talk.
doctor went 10-6 this past week on football picks. I went 8-8, and PostMaster finished 7-9.
Like the Seahawks did last year.
Terrible.
We got some stuff to talk about today. The look at the board showed that.
The bulletin board.
The bulletin board.
But we're going to talk about some user questions first, guys.
As we always do.
Absolutely. And a little change this week. We want you guys to know we appreciate all your comments, questions.
Absolutely.
But to give you guys more insight and commentary on sports and wrestling related topics, we're kind of going to pick out like the best 5 or 6 questions each week. So if you get your question read on there, you know, hey.
Yeah, there you go.
There you
But
go.
please keep sending them to us.
Yes, of course.
For
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right,
So,
here we go.
Here we go. First question. Do you think it would be cool if Zachary and Pizzle would comment for Bitchamania for SWF?
SMF.
SWF.
It's okay. It's okay. Obviously, this question is probably more towards me. It'd be cool if they commentated a match or two. I don't know if they want to comment the whole thing because I probably would imagine, you know, Bob Ross, Josh, whatever you want to call him. He probably would. I would imagine he'd want to commentate the majority of it himself, since more likely than not, this is his very last show of him doing SMF ever. He's done it for like 7 years. Hats off to the guy. Amazing stuff through all the years on YouTube for SMF. Again, it'd be cool if Zachary and the Pizzle maybe commentated a match here or there, but I'd like to see just Josh commentated on his own.
All right, Doc, we'll let you start off this question. Do you think Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan lost respect when they went to TNA?
I don't think they so much lost respect for going to TNA. I think they lost respect when they didn't retire, when they should have. Of course, that in part does include them going to TNA, but I definitely think that when you're done, you're done. We don't need a 70-year-old man,
Right.
60-year-old man in the ring trying to suplex or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's my take.
Yeah, I don't know how to take it because of the fact that I think Ric Flair lost more respect than Hulk Hogan did, to be honest with you. Because he had that whole charade facing Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 24, crying, and the next night on Raw, he left, and it was all sad and all tears, and a tearful goodbye and all that stuff. And then he goes to TNA, and it's like, what are you doing? I thought you were done. And then he has a match with Abyss, like, later on for his Hall of Fame ring. Come on, Rick. Like, what are you doing? And I think Rick needs to retire. I mean, guy's a tremendous wrestler, obviously one of the best ever. And Hulk Hogan, I guess he wants to still wrestle or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but if he keeps wrestling, he's going to be paralyzed.
Yeah, so I think going to TNA, I don't think, like, I agree with him. I don't think going to TNA, I think they just lost respect entirely for doing the things they've done in the past. So.
I mean, retire. You don't need to be in the business any longer. I realize you want to hold on to that brass ring a little longer, but give it up, guys.
Yeah.
You've had your time. Let the young guys take over.
Yeah.
So if you could be any wrestler, any period, what wrestler would you be, and what would your in-ring style be?
My answer is actually going to surprise you guys a little bit because my favorite is Shawn Michaels, but that's not who I'm going to pick because I've never been one to do drugs or anything like that, and anybody that knows me knows I've never touched this stuff. And of course, Shawn at the beginning of his career did have some problems.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Ultimate Warrior because he was kind of a big powerhouse kind of guy. But I tweaked the style a little bit. I think I'd be more technical than powerhouse because I've always had a thing for submission moves. I love a good ankle lock or whatever. I think that's just epic.
Ankle lock.
Ankle lock.
We'll get to that in a second.
But yeah, I think that's what I would do.
I think I go more towards the road of like a Mr. Perfect or a Dolph Ziggler. Kind of has that persona as like I'm the best, even though he didn't really get the pushes he deserved. Like I think Mr. Perfect should have been world champion, which is completely another topic for another day. But I like the kind of Mr. Perfect, kind of technical, has that nice charisma persona, and Dolph Ziggler's getting there also. So kind of something like that. Maybe not like the best wrestler in the world, but like technical style, has great skill and great with the fans.
Yeah.
Well, neither one of those are great with the fans.
Whoa!
We all know that. That's well and true.
True.
We also all know that Ultimate Warrior is one of the biggest drug users ever.
Oh, he was a steroid user. He
Well, hello, drugs. Hello.
I take the dime away from you.
It wasn't marijuana or cocaine or anything.
So you know. I would have to go with probably CM Punk.
It's clobbering time.
It is clobbering time. And CM Punk is straight edge, and I, in fact, am straight edge. Now, I don't have a Pepsi logo tattoo on my arm to prove that. But I love the way he gets over with the crowd. I love the way he exerts himself. He's definitely probably the best wrestler going right now. So I think if I could be any wrestler, I would want to be CM Punk.
Yeah.
So another question strictly for Big B.
Okay. I mean, you could probably chime in this because you probably know a little bit about it too.
Would you create a call league, and is it hard to do?
I'll give you an answer on the second question first. I would create a call league because it's a lot of fun. Right now, I don't know if I would do it because it's kind of a dying fad at this point. Is it hard to do? You're damn right it's hard to do.
Extremely hard.
Before he came on, I was doing it pretty much by myself, and to start off from scratch, especially starting off like a game like SmackDown vs. Raw 6, having to create all the people and all the moves and all the entrances is like a tiring chore, obviously. And then once you have the characters done, it's pretty much easy to do the matches because that's when you start having fun. Doing the matches, making the storylines, that's the fun part. And then like what I've done it multiple times, is switch games, go to SVR 08 or 10 or 11 or whatever. That's nothing. You get back into the pain of having to create people all over again. But the fun of it is definitely doing the stories, and you can chime in here also.
Yeah. When he started doing DWA, we were working together, and he told me about it. I was like, this is something I'd love to be a part of. And there was a lot of work even for me coming on because I helped him with the writing and of course commentating. Sometimes we'd have to do 2 or 3 takes or back something up. I remember we did the Royal Rumble, the DWA equivalent of the Royal Rumble.
Royal of the Ring.
Yeah. And we had to shoot a whole take on it because the computer just would not
Yeah,
cooperate.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it can be very difficult to do, but it's very fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So, what is your opinion on WWE releasing good wrestlers and keeping bad wrestlers such as Santino Marella?
Okay, hold on a second. First of all, Santino is not a bad wrestler. He is just portrayed that way on TV. Okay? I've seen him wrestle in OVW and in other organizations besides that, and WWE.
You Mr. Miyagi?
No, I was doing the Cobra.
Oh, okay.
How dare you interrupt me? Anyway, But Santino is a fantastic wrestler. I'll say this. I said it before and I'll say it again. If you're in the WWE, you're obviously good enough to be there, okay? You're not just some lackey, okay? If Santino actually really wrestled as he did on WWE in real life, then he wouldn't be there. He'd probably be in TNA, okay? But Santino is obviously good. They just push him as a comedic character, and that's fine. That's what he did. He's funny, but I don't see them releasing bad wrestlers like Santino. I don't see them releasing bad wrestlers at all. Obviously there's people like Chris Masters, it wasn't the greatest, and people I can name lists, but we'd be here probably all night. But they're not really releasing good wrestlers. I mean, do you think they're really releasing good wrestlers?
No, but I mean, to your point of if they're in WWE, there's not really, they're not really, I guess you could say, pushovers. I can think of one in all of history, and that would be the Brooklyn Brawler.
Well, he's there to be the jobber.
Right. But that was his job, was to go in and be like, oh, I'm the Brooklyn Brawler, and get beat up in like 1 minute. But, no, I don't think they release good wrestlers. Now, they may release some wrestlers early, maybe a little prematurely get rid of people before they should. But I don't think, without legitimate reason, that they get rid of wrestlers.
Yeah,
I think you're on the good track there. You're on the right track. I think that it's hard to tell what's good or bad, because to me, a good wrestler is someone who does get over with the crowd, someone who does go in there, give it their all, and like they said on Raw, leave it in the ring. I think that it's just one of those things that is based on crowd reaction, but also you've got to have a little bit of skill to get there too.
Yeah.
And I think that's. As far as Santino Marella, he was the first person to beat Umaga.
Yeah, exactly.
They pushed him as that at first, so we thought he was going to be this BAM.
Yeah, but obviously they found out he was really funny.
Right, yeah, so they decided to go.
Again, if you're in WWE, you're obviously good enough to be
right.
there. So.
Right. And the final question of the week, which match do you think is a better match? Stone Cold versus CM Punk?
CM Punk?
Yeah, CM Punk.
Okay.
Or John Cena versus The Rock?
Ooh.
Because I don't like John Cena, I'm going to go to say CM Punk versus Stone Cold. But I think that would be the better match anyways, because PostMaster said it a couple of shows ago that they're both the rule breakers, and I think that would be a good match.
I think, obviously, I agree with you. I think CM Punk would be the better match, because I think CM Punk's the better wrestler in the ring out of all of them, okay? But obviously we're gonna see The Rock and John Cena at WrestleMania. Right. It's gonna happen, and something might happen in Survivor Series. We'll get into that when we get to wrestling later on. Again, it all depends. It all depends on what Steve wants to do. If they actually will have that match, because it's all up on Steve how his health is. If they are actually gonna have a match eventually, because their styles do clash. It'd be a good match. But I have to agree with you. I think Steve and CM Punk will probably be the better match of the two.
I think John Cena and Rock will be a better match, and the reason why is for the reason you said. Stone Cold has health issues. He has neck troubles. He has knee problems. The Rock is in really good shape.
Yeah,
The Rock is in excellent shape.
He's training for WrestleMania for sure.
And I think because of that, you would see a lot more electrifying moves with The Rock and John Cena rather than CM Punk and Stone Cold.
Right.
I think if Stone Cold was at 110% and you could exhibit the full Stone Cold Steve Austin, that match would be better, but I think as of now, definitely The Rock versus John Cena would be a good match.
Absolutely.
So, well, we appreciate you guys' questions and comments for the week. Like I said, keep them coming.
We didn't get a question from Undead Warrior.
I know. Where you at, buddy?
Come on. We really do like your questions. It's good times.
So, with that being said, guys, let's talk a little U.S. Open.
Oh, boy. I have a lot to say about this. Obviously, we did the show during the time this is going on, but there was a lot of problems with rain, and they couldn't get the match done. The tournament directors were scrambling to try to get these matches done so the tournament wouldn't go on, an extended period of time. But long story short, we got the U.S. Open done. It's finished. So the first match I'm going to talk about here is obviously, well, I'll get into the finals in a second. The semifinals were Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray. Nadal pretty much steamrolled through that. Won his match pretty handily against Murray. Murray did get a set off of him, but Nadal handily won that one. And this question, I talked to you earlier about it, and this is perplexing me because I don't know what's going on with them. Tennis commentators and his peers and sports analysts that analyze tennis down to the T proclaim that Roger Federer is the greatest tennis player of all time, and I can't dispute that. But at Wimbledon in this past summer, he faced Joe Wilfried Tsonga, was up 2-0. He never lost a match before being up 2-0. He loses. Then he plays Novak Djokovic in the semifinals, is up 2-0. He loses. And then last year at the U.S. Open, he did the same thing. So what's going on with Roger Federer?
I think every now and then people just have a bad game.
Well, I think so. I mean, I think every now and then it's just not your day.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that's weird coming from Roger Federer. I know, to some people, you compare Roger Federer to the Tiger Woods of old, or the Peyton Manning of football, or it's that particular athlete that just stands out above the rest amongst anybody. But Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, I mean, they're younger than Federer. They're up and coming. Federer's been around for a while. I think the new breed is taking over. Obviously, I mean, hats off Novak Djokovic. 64-2. And I posed this question to Big B earlier off air, and he answered it for me, so I'm going to pose this to you. 64-2 record for Novak Djokovic. Now, I know you don't watch as much tennis like me, unlike Big B over here, but do you think that that's the greatest single year for a tennis player ever in history?
I don't see. I mean, obviously, I don't know a lot about tennis. I feel like why you're asking this question is that there's a little bit of. So me being the doctor and able to figure this kind of stuff out, I'm going to say no. That's not the greatest record in tennis.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, 3 Grand Slam titles, only 2 losses.
I just feel like it was a loaded question.
Right, I'll go
What
into the history real quick. McEnroe had a similar year. He was like 63-2 or something. It was very similar to Novak Djokovic. I completely throw my hands in the air to the guy. I mean, 64-2. Even if you're not a tennis fan,
Up in the air sometimes.
Well, what is the greatest record? Is it 64-2?
It's
That's
wow.
it. I mean,
It's
that's not a loaded question.
it's
Oh,
Djokovic, okay?
All right.
And
I was gonna say it seemed
The
like
thing
it was
is,
a-
I wanted your serious opinion.
Oh.
even if you don't know a lot about tennis, losing 2 matches all year is
That's pretty
ridiculous.
good.
If
Okay.
you don't know, now you know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so the U.S. I'll get to the men's final real quick in a second. Serena Williams, who was obviously the favorite going into the U.S.
Fail!
Going to the women's U.S. Open, she actually lost to Samantha Stosur 6-2 and 6-3. Pretty handily. Stosur
Fail!
beat her. 2 things that I saw in that match were definitely eye-opening to me. Serena Williams hit a forehand shot, and she yelled, come on, to get her pumped up. And she hit it before Stosur got the shot, and the chair umpire gave Stosur the point, and it ended up costing her that set and pretty much the match at that point. And the thing I'll say to you both is, I think Serena Williams is the best women's player ever, okay? But the thing about her is she needs to get her emotions in check.
Didn't she go off?
Yeah, she went off on the umpire. She went off in 2009 threatening the lineswoman. She's going to put a ball down her throat and kill her. She needs to get her emotions in check.
Yeah, I think maybe it has a little bit to do with the theatrics of the moment, or maybe the heat of the moment. But I mean, this is not unheard of for a solo. I mean, we did a skit a couple weeks ago about John McEnroe. I think definitely some people say things that they don't mean in the
Heat of the moment.
heat of the moment.
Right.
Dane Cook had the comedian had a very good set about stuff, saying somebody telling him in a store, "I will effing kill you,"
Yeah.
because of a silly thing
Right.
that he did.
But she needs to get her emotions in check. And
Serena, you better check yourself
yeah, she was fined
before
$2,000.
you wreck yourself.
And she was fined $2,000. Whoop-de-doo. Do you have a dollar in your pocket?
No.
Well, if you had pull it out, that'd be equivalent of her getting fined $2,000. It's nothing to her. $2,000 is nothing.
She's multi-million.
It's nothing. Okay, so
I think the best thing to quote for Serena Williams, your behavior reminds me of one thing, and if you want to know what that is, get on YouTube and look up a particular Dennis Leary song about a particular a-hole. I think that quotes her behavior this past weekend at the U.S.
she's
Open.
getting in trouble, it seems like, all the time at the U.S. Open, and we'll see what goes on for her. Hope she can get her act
I
together.
mean, tennis is a game of champions. Am I not right here?
Yeah,
Tennis
It's a game
is
of
a
sportsmanship.
tennis is supposed to be a game of sportsmanship, and she's acting like a biatch. I mean, it's simple as that. That's all you can say
I like
for
how
it.
you stuttered that so
Anyway, so moving on to the men's final, which took place Monday.
Monday.
4 o'clock because of the rain. Novak Djokovic won the match 6-2, 6-4, 6-7, 6-1. Again, winning 3 Grand Slams this year.
sounded like a code.
I know.
Winning 3 Grand Slams this year, obviously, clearly number 1 player. Nadal, obviously, you saw that scene a few weeks back with the cramping. Could that play an effect? I don't know, but no,
I had cramps earlier.
no, there's nothing.
Once a month.
There's nothing more impressive this year in tennis than Novak Djokovic, and he's just going to continue to play well.
64-2.
64-2, and the year's not over yet. He's going to play Davis Cup at the end of the year, and we'll see what happens at the next year with the Australian Open, moving on forward to tennis. And Djokovic is just dominating the game right now, plain and simple.
All right, so moving on to a little college football action.
The top 25 all win.
That is a first. I don't think I've ever seen a win. Now,
That's kind of crazy.
Now, let's get it be straight that a lot of the top 25 played, Betty Crocker School for the South.
They did.
I like that school.
You do?
I will take it back. For 1 second, the only top 25 team that did not win was Mississippi State because they played Auburn, who's another top 25 team. But all teams except for Mississippi State did win. But I mean, there's somebody in that game did have to lose, so we can understand that.
And this just in, breaking news if you didn't know, apparently for your local people, University of Louisville, they're not the best team in Jefferson County. Apparently Trinity High School is the best team in the state of Kentucky, period. And if you don't know, look up Trinity High School. They're the #1 high school football team in the United States.
Yeah, they really are.
So go Rocks!
Yeah, they've been playing that high school league, the NAIA high school league for a while now, and it's finally paid off.
It's always them and St. X, pretty much.
St. X is not in that league.
No, St. X is not.
I'm just saying, normally it's Trinity and St. X.
This is the crazy thing. The Lichtenhouse ratings for high school football come out today. Mm-hmm. Trinity's not even ranked. You want to know why?
What do you mean, St. X?
No, Trinity is not. Let me explain. Let me explain. The state Lichtenhouse ratings. Because Trinity has yet to play a single team in the state, and they are so awesome at football at Trinity.
They don't schedule them.
That nobody in the state wants to play them.
The only person that schedules them is Male, and that game comes up later this year.
And that's because they're a district game. That's the only reason.
A district game.
They have 9 games, so they don't even get a full regular season slate. They're supposed to have 10. They only get 9. They get their 3 district games, St. X, Male, Manual. They play 6 out-of-town schools. So, I mean, hats off to them. They're averaging 50 points a game. James Quick, for you people that don't know much about Trinity, which I know a lot of you don't, look up James Quick. He is the #3 rated wide receiver in the United States. Also, Travis Wright, the quarterback. He is on the watch list for the National High School Player of the Year.
Wow.
So check out Trinity High School.
Yeah.
And also, one other thing on this note, a couple of years ago, MTV did that rivalry show where they highlighted the St. X Trinity rivalry, which is the biggest high school rivalry in the nation.
Yeah,
Bar none. It sells out Papa John's Cardinal Stadium, which does have national implications. Because
U of L can't even sell out Papa John's Cardinal Stadium.
That's where U of L plays. And
do they really play there? Do they really actually play?
No, I think it's more like intramurals.
Yeah. Okay. And they lost this week, U of L, to a good FAI team, Florida International.
Yeah.
So you see Louisville going 1-11.
No, a little better than that.
A little bit better.
3-9.
3-9 probably.
Maybe we'll see. So moving on away from college football and a little high school football, a little bonus action there. It's a little historic.
We had a historic week in the NFL.
Again, congratulations to the doctor for being the top dino this
week. Week 1 in the NFL.
You keep that for a week. You won't keep it next week.
Next week's games are harder to pick.
Yeah, that's hard. We'll get to those. Obviously, this week in the NFL was crazy. Me and PostMaster watched the opening game on Thursday. The Saints and the Packers. Great offensive game.
That game was phenomenal.
I'm sorry. Packers won, but again, you and me disagreed about the way the Saints ended the game.
Right, absolutely.
Handed off to Mark Ingram, which they weren't getting many yards on the ground anyway. I think, again, Drew Brees could have done a bootleg, ran around the left, and could have walked in the end zone.
That play works every time.
They could have thrown to the
But I don't know why they were running the ball. They got no yards on the ground.
I think Sean Payton was trying to maybe establish a dominant running game. If you make that touchdown, if you make that run at the last second in the clutch, you forever seal yourself for the rest of the season as a powerhouse winning team. And I think he was going on that chance.
You spade.
Let's throw. I want to throw out a couple statistics here from that game.
We all know I love statistics.
Rodgers 27 for 35, 312 yards with 3 touchdowns. Breeze 32 for 49, 419 yards with 3 touchdowns.
Both quarterbacks looked absolutely phenomenal.
So I'm going to run over just a quick few topics here for the games this past week, and I'll start with my team. Seahawks, congratulations. You did win the game at Candlestick Park.
It was a great game.
Great game.
It really was.
I do think, as a Seahawks fan, I think our red zone defense did look pretty good towards the end of the game. Obviously, the special teams didn't help us at all. Ted Ginn Jr.
Which we'll get to.
Again, congratulations, Ted Ginn Jr. Hell of a player.
We'll get to that in a second.
Again, moving on to probably one of the biggest shockers of this weekend. The
Absolutely.
The Steelers. Okay, Ben Roethlisberger has 5 turnovers, 3 picks, and 2 fumbles.
Right.
They have 7 turnovers overall, which I found out on ESPN. That's the most turnovers they have had in 16 years. So the Ravens, they stated on Sunday, look, we're taking this division whether you like it or not. And they proved it on Sunday by scoring 35 points, most in that rivalry.
Roethlisberger, 22 for 41, as you said, 1 TD, 3 interceptions, 280 yards.
Not enough.
And then Joe Flacco turns around and has the game of his career.
Yeah.
17 for 29, 224 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, so the Steelers need to figure out what to do on offense because the Ravens just destroyed them.
I don't think it was so much what the Steelers were doing offensively. I think it's what the Ravens were doing defensively.
But I think Roethlisberger threw a lot of bad passes.
Yeah, he did.
He should be better than that. Colts without Peyton Manning look extremely lost.
Yeah, they.
I mean, obviously,
the first half was terrible.
34-0 before halftime.
Kerry Collins, 2 fumbles. Other than those 2 fumbles, he didn't play all that bad. The defense was horrible in the first half. I had to commend them, though, the second half. They shut down the Texans. So, a little bright spot. Completely scoreless in the second half. They were able to get on the board with a touchdown, but...
Do the Colts go after David Garrard?
No.
They need somebody better than Collins.
No, I tell you what, I don't think they'll go after David Garrard. I actually think David Garrard could end up elsewhere other than the Colts. I think if the Colts are smart, they somehow figure out a way to get to Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's possible or not.
I don't think get to Joe Montana.
Yeah. Well, if they're going to go that far, they could get John Elway.
Yeah.
Even better. So it just was a rough weekend for the Colts. Cam Newton.
A game we said last week, you said that Arizona would win in a wash, which they didn't. Arizona only won by a touchdown, but Cam Newton looked damn impressive, breaking Peyton Manning's record for most passing yards by a rookie.
24 for 37, 422 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1
And you know what?
interception.
I think when we did the football special, we might have misjudged the Panthers.
I definitely did, because I had said that Cam Newton cannot play. I said he could be a good quarterback if he did not run. He didn't run a whole lot, so I could still be right on this.
Like we'll see as the season progresses, because they only lost by 7 to the Cardinals, but I think their defense is a step up for them too.
But I think all of us agreed that in order for Cam Newton to be effective, he has to do what he does best, and that is pass.
Yeah.
And I think he definitely showed that. So I think our predictions are going outside of the realm of wrestling being right.
Yeah.
Giants looked a little baffled.
I mean, I said the Giants would be 8-8, and I think we all had them winning this game against the Redskins, but they just couldn't do anything against the Redskins at all.
Absolutely
Eli Manning looked terrible. They were turning the ball over left and right. You can't win the game that way.
No.
And it's just the Redskins. I thought were the worst team in that division, but they looked pretty decent. But the Giants should play a lot better than that.
I think maybe they went in there with the big head. Maybe.
And my Super Bowl pick, what were they thinking?
Wow! Matty Ice looked ice cold to me.
He did. He was ice cold.
The Bears' defense just shut him down.
The Bears were very impressive against a very impressive
And Michael
Hopkins
the Burner
team.
Turner wasn't burning at all.
Absolutely not. How about the performance by Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Buffalo Bills?
That was great.
I'll say this. I don't know if you agree with me. I think the surprise team of Week 1. Going into Arrowhead Stadium, okay, a team that last year was 7-1 at home, and they get blown out 41-7 in their own place.
41-7.
The Bills? Really?
Bills.
I mean, everybody does get to the top of that mountain every now and then, and maybe the Bills are trying to surprise some people.
Let's see.
So in what I call the Ohio Toilet Bowl over the weekend, it was the Cincinnati Bungles against the Cleveland Brownies. But the Cleveland Browns surprisingly took the loss in this one.
Cincinnati played good football.
Andy Dalton goes down. Yeah. Bruce Gradkowski comes in.
I think they pounded the ball pretty well with Cedric Benson. He did a good job.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, hats off to the Bengals for getting that win. The Minnesota Vikings, they came up a little short. They couldn't finish the job. Donovan McNabb yet again proved why he's no longer in Philadelphia and why he can't seem to get a consistent starting job.
43 yards.
43 yards. Abysmal. Donovan, stick to the Campbell's Chunky Soup commercials.
And the only one who picked the Detroit Lions this week was me. I think Detroit played up to people's expectations. They
I
played.
think Matthew Stafford did an amazing job.
I think they played really well.
Threw for over 400
Calvin
yards.
Johnson can catch anything, so I think they did an excellent job. They're definitely people expect them to do this well, and they're doing well so far.
And probably the biggest quarterback performance and wide receiver performance, for that matter, came out of Monday Night Football, New England Patriots and Miami. By the way, what the heck were you thinking picking Miami? Are you serious? I mean, really?
They had a chance to win.
Right,
the
I'll
game.
say this
They
about
did.
them, okay? I think they have a good receiver in Brandon Marshall. Reggie Bush is an explosive football player, period.
Right.
And Chad Henne, he did show some signs of brilliance last night, so I thought maybe they'd be able to stop him. But, can't be right all the time. Obviously, New England just shut them down with Tom Brady.
Well,
Until Tom Brady got the fire of God lit underneath him, I mean, Miami did have a very legitimate chance of winning that game.
what kind of play call was that on 4th and 1 on the 1 yard line?
No idea.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
You call that? Come on, Tony Soprano.
And of course,
Tony Sparano!
of course, who are we to question that call?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't blame him from going there, but had that play worked, they're only down 7 with about 6.5 minutes to go. Maybe a little outcome.
I can't believe he comes out and says that and scrutinizes the public for telling people, for a general public knowing.
Yeah.
But instead, we get the fastest white wide receiver in the league, Wes
Wes
Welker.
It's fast.
99.5 yards, ties the NFL record.
Which is the historic part.
What a freaking run. Tom Brady, 517 yards receiving last night. Passing, yeah, thank you. Totally amazing.
4 touchdowns and 1 interception to go with that.
Yeah.
That is a historical part of what we were talking about. The other historical parts, Ted Ginn Jr. becomes the 12th player in NFL history to do one thing, and Big B knows what that is, to both run back a kickoff and a punt for a touchdown. And going back to what you were saying with Wes Welker also becomes the 12th player in history to run a 99.5-yard touchdown back.
But I think the biggest and by far, and according to ESPN, because it was number 1, the best all-around player of the weekend, University of Kentucky product, Randall Cobb.
Very good performance.
Very good. 108-yard kickoff
Return
for a touchdown. He included that with a reception touchdown from Aaron Rodgers. A absolute stellar game for his first game as a Green Bay Packer. Definitely solidified his position on that roster, absolutely. And I thought it was pretty cool of him that after the game was over and throughout the week, he actually manned up and said on both plays they were both broken plays, and that on the kickoff he wasn't supposed to run that out. And I guess for his sake, it's a good thing he didn't run it out. Epic performance by Randall Cobb.
Just want to touch on real quick 2 more games that happened on Sunday. The Jacksonville Jaguars, without David Garrard, going with Luke McCown, they ended up beating Tennessee.
They did.
Jones Drew looked pretty good, but again, I agree with you. They can't keep handing the ball to Jones Drew to win games. They gotta find a quarterback.
They cannot.
Either Luke McCown needs to step up or get a new quarterback.
Well, he did. He won the game for him this past weekend.
Oh yeah, I think. Well, I told you Matt Hasselbeck lost it for him.
Yeah, maybe so.
And then the last game I want to mention, everyone's sexy Super Bowl pick, the Philadelphia Eagles, who destroyed the St. Louis Rams 31-13 in St. Louis.
I'm not very surprised.
There is one more thing I want to touch on. The Oakland Raiders, Sebastian Janikowski, tied a record 63-yard field goal.
Absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
So that wraps up week 1 of the NFL season, guys.
And right now,
it was a epic week 1.
Right now, the doctor is top dyno, but we'll see how long that goes.
And we're going to see how long that goes because we're moving on to our pick'ems portion for the football for week number 2. And we'll just roll through here from top to bottom. I'll start with you, Doctor. Seattle goes into Pittsburgh. They're 14.5-point underdog. Who do you like in this one?
I think Pittsburgh's out for blood after what happened to him with the Ravens. I'm going with Pittsburgh.
I hate to say it because you know how I feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but Pittsburgh's going to win. They're going to beat Seattle.
I think Pittsburgh too. Oakland goes into Buffalo. Buffalo is a 3.5-point favorite. Who do you like in this one?
Because they're at home, I'm going to say Buffalo.
I'm going to have to go with Buffalo, too.
But it's the battle of the bad for sure.
Apparently, we're all in agreement here in the early going. Arizona is a 4-point dog against the Redskins.
I'm going to pick Arizona because I think they definitely were utilizing B.D. Wells, and I like that connection while they're working on Fitzgerald.
I again, I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't think Washington won that game last week. I think the Giants lost. I'm going to have to go with the Cardinals as well.
I think the Redskins continue a little hot streak here, and I'm going to go a little different picker, and I'll take the Redskins.
Yeah.
Minnesota Vikings, 3-point favorite against the Buccaneers.
I'm going to have to go with the Bucks because Minnesota hasn't shown me anything.
I'm going to have to go with the Vikings on this one. I think they found a way to win.
I think I'm with the doctor here. I think Tampa Bay is a definite choice here. The New York Jets, 9.5-point favorite against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
From a betting perspective, I would take the Jags to cover the 9.5, but I'm going to go with the Jets to win.
Yeah, I know we didn't mention this. We got to mention in the Monday Night Football game, the Jets and the Cowboys.
Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Football, excuse me. Tony Romo lost that game for them. I mean, that shows me why the Jets are my contender for the Super Bowl. They are a contender for the Super Bowl. That's why I'm picking the Jets, by the way. The Jets showed why they are a team to be reckoned with in this NFL.
I completely agree with you.
And Tony Romo, what was he doing? What was he looking at when the ball was snapped? I don't know what he was thinking.
So he's looking for his career with Jessica Simpson.
It's Romo needs
Head
to
scratcher.
Romo.
I picked the Jets as well.
Yeah.
New Orleans and the Bears, great game. New Orleans, 6.5-point favorite against the Bears.
I'm gonna, even though Chicago had a great performance last week, I'm gonna have to go with the Saints.
Where is the game?
I believe it's in New Orleans.
I go with New Orleans.
I think New Orleans as well. Baltimore, a 6-point favorite against the Titans.
I would bet Baltimore on this one. They're gonna beat the Titans by more than 6 points.
Yeah.
I'm going with the
I
Ravens.
think Baltimore continues the streak they were on last week against the Steelers. I think they could take Tennessee, and they beat them pretty bad.
I like Baltimore as well here, so keep on rolling.
This isn't good. We're picking all the same teams.
Yeah, well, it happens.
Someone's either going to be really good or really bad.
Green Bay versus Carolina. Green Bay, 9.5-point favorite.
Green Bay.
I'm going to take Green Bay in the win, but I don't know if that might be too many points. I think Carolina's got a good offense. I think they might close the gap a little bit, but I do say Green Bay wins.
Green Bay, and another anonymous pick. Kansas City Chiefs against the Detroit Lions. Lions, 8.5-point favorite.
I'm going to go with the Lions.
I think the Lions are for real. Lions.
I'm going on the limb here again for the second time, and I'm going to say KC.
You just want to be different.
I don't want to be different. We can't all pick the same thing, everything. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah,
Cleveland versus Indy at Indy. Cleveland, 2.5-point favorite.
This is going to be the toughest game of the week to pick because both teams, and it's no fault of Indy, but both teams are just so bad. And I think I'm going to have to go with the Browns.
Yeah, I think I'm going with the Browns also.
I just don't think Indy's defense can hold up.
Without, I'm telling you right now, and I told you 1,000 times before we started filming tonight, until Peyton Manning comes back for your football team, they will not win a single game.
I'm picking the Colts. Screw you both.
I like that attitude.
Dallas and San Francisco. Dallas, 3-point favorite.
I love this game. I love San Francisco to just go in to the Candlestick Park and destroy the Cowboys. We saw it last week. You were absolutely right. Tony Romo lost that game. I think he gets rattled by the fans at Candlestick. I know their kicker can't kick there, so if the defense is as on as they were against Seattle, Cowboys are in a world of pain. I just don't trust Tony Romo at this point. But surprisingly, I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I think somehow they get their act together and just find a way to beat San Francisco at home.
Okay.
At home against San Francisco.
How about them Cowboys? I like that pick. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Just so you guys know, I will not be picking San Francisco every game, but I just really do like them against the Cowboys.
Denver versus the Bengals. Denver, 4.5-point favorite.
Another battle of the bad, but I think I'm going to have to go against the favorites here, and I think I'm going to have to go with the Bengals.
I would pick the Broncos if Tim Tebow were the starter. Instead, I'm going with the Bengals.
I'm going with the Broncos. I like it. All right, probably the hardest game of the week, in my opinion.
In your opinion? All right.
New England versus San Diego, two of the best teams in the AFC. New England's 7-point favorite.
That's a good spread.
That's a very good spread.
New England 7-point favorite.
It's good.
Y'all start. I'm going to think about this one.
Oh, boy.
I think this is tough because they both had impressive performances on Sunday, and obviously Tom Brady on Monday night. I had to go with the Patriots.
He's going with the Pats. I'm going with my boy here. I'm sticking with Philip Rivera, Vincent Jackson.
This is gonna be the make or break game for the week.
I think the Chargers go into New England and spring the early season upset, which I don't really call an upset. I think both teams are evenly matched, and I think San Diego comes out on top.
You know, I'm going to agree with that. I think San Diego does come out on top. I think the fire underneath Tom Brady's, after 517 yards, good gosh.
All right, Houston Texans 3-point favorite against the Miami Dolphins.
I like the Texans.
I think the Texans just play the same way they played last week against the Colts. Impressive offense, good defense, and they beat the Dolphins.
I'll take the Texans as well. So another anonymous pick on that end. Probably a preview of what could be the NFC Championship game.
Last week was an indicator of that at all.
I think so. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons. The Eagles 2.5-point favorite.
I like the Eagles minus the points.
I like the Eagles. I thought last week Michael Vick did an impressive job of scrambling and getting out of the pocket, making smart, good throws. I take the Eagles.
I think Matty Ice is Matty Hot this week. I think they shut down the Philadelphia Eagles and they find a way to win and they rebound from that abysmal form.
Hopefully they get their act together.
And the final game of the week, the Monday night game, which already is kind of for a Monday night game. Steven Jackson will not be playing for the Rams. Sam Bradford is banged up.
Questionable.
So with that being said, Eli Manning and the New York Giants 4.5-point favorite against the St. Louis Rams.
Now, before Jackson and Bradford got hurt or banged up, I would have said the Rams.
Me as well.
But I think I'm going to have to go with the Giants.
If Jackson were playing, I'd say Rams all the way, but I guess the Giants find someone to get their act together. They're playing at home. I think the crowd will be on their side. I think that'll help rejuvenate the Giants for a Week 2 victory. I pick the Giants.
I like the Giants as well, so it looks like for Monday Night Football, we're all in joint agreement. So
this week, either we're going to be really close or really off.
We'll see. It should be an interesting weekend pro football. Now moving on to
next week, we'll see who takes home the Top Dino Award.
Top Dino. So now moving on to something that we know a little bit more about. Professional wrestling. And guys, we got a pay-per-view this Sunday.
We sure do. Again, I will mention it to the day I die. Cody Rhodes on SmackDown faced Randy Orton. He did lose, but
that's never going to shut you up.
it was an impressive match.
Thank you, WWE, for giving him something to throw against us for the rest of our lives.
And then obviously Mark Henry fought Ezekiel Jackson. Mark Henry, damn impressive. I feel for Randy Orton, Night of Champions. And then Monday Night Raw, Cody Rhodes fought Randy Orton again, and he won. Yeah,
he won because Mark Henry was a distraction. Distraction.
Anyway,
keyword distraction.
In my opinion, though, Raw last night was kind of like
it was meh.
I mean, of course, you had like John Cena and Bret the Hitman Hart against Alberto Del Rio.
What?
Who? Bret Hart.
What the heck was he doing on Raw?
It was a Canada.
Okay.
Anyway,
it's Canadians.
Anyway,
Canadians.
It was Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez was Bret Hart and John Cena, and Bret Hart made Ricardo tap out to the sharpshooter.
Big surprise.
But the obviously the big point of the night was the in-ring performance between CM Punk and Triple H. Phenomenal stuff.
Pipe bomb. Boop.
Phenomenal stuff.
Pipe bomb. Boop.
I mean, CM Punk and Triple H just went at it. I'm sorry, Phil Brooks and Paul Levesque went at it.
No, Paul Levesque.
Whatever.
As he said.
Paul Levesque.
But yeah, I mean, they
is this line?
I don't.
And CM Punk still wants his ice cream bars.
Yeah,
that was epic.
I thought Triple H. I thought that would have been so great if Triple H would have said just to shut him up.
Yeah.
We ordered him this week.
This match is going to make the pay-per-view. By far.
Well, and see, it's weird, too, because neither one of them is a champion right now.
Right, but that's the match I'm looking forward to seeing. I think maybe Kevin Nash gets involved in there. I'll talk about when we talk about Night of Champions, but I have a lot to say about that match. So
I think they totally screwed up.
Night of Champions.
Well, no, let me finish. Okay. This match.
Okay.
The match is epic. The match is going to be great. The one problem I have is throwing in the catch of if Triple H loses, he loses the title of COO.
Of coup.
That's not going to happen.
Well, like I said, I think Laurinaitis, maybe the storyline that we're going through,
Right.
maybe to make things a little bit more interesting is maybe they are going to get involved somehow, but maybe they give him a rematch a little bit later on for a different stipulation.
Yeah, I just don't like that stipulation.
Right.
I don't like it either, but like I said, I think they're going to try, because lately the WWE has been doing a few things that, you're saying, yeah, that's not going to happen. So maybe this one will happen.
So basically, Raw and SmackDown this week, we're just building towards Night of Champions. That's usually what the Raw and SmackDown do. So moving on to Night of Champions, I'm actually checking WWE.com as we speak, and actually they added a match here. The first match we'll talk about is for the United States Championship. Dolph Ziggler will defend against Alex Riley, Jack Swagger, and John Morrison. Who do you like in this one?
I think I'm going to have to go out on a limb here. And because they've been fighting, and because he's been saying, you don't belong, I'm going to say Jack Swagger wins this match and secures a place in Vicky's stable.
The last person I expect to win this match, Jack Swagger. I think we see a new champion, and I'm so happy to say I think the new champion will be John Morrison.
Okay.
I think he finally gets the title he deserves.
John Morrison, huh? Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you, Big B. And I'm going to have to totally agree with you as much and as bad as I hate to say it, because I can't stand him because he sounds like Sylvester the Cat.
I'll give you a cheeseburger with American cheese.
Jack Swagger is my selection. I know, right? Anyway,
so that's that one. Now a tag match with Air Boom, Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne take on Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth.
That name's not catching on. Sorry, but I am going to have to go with him. The Miz and Truth.
Awesome Truth?
Yeah.
I don't think Air Boom, as much as it pains me to say that name is so stupid. Really, Air Boom?
Really, Air Boom?
Really? But I'm going to have to go with Air Boom in this one. I don't think they lose the titles just yet.
I agree with Big B. I don't foresee Air Boom losing.
And then a match that me and PostMaster think that Beth Phoenix should already be champion as it is anyway. It's the Divas Championship match. Kelly versus Beth Phoenix.
I think I'm going to have to go with Beth.
I think this is Beth's time, and there's two reasons I say that. The reason is, I think it is Beth's time to be champion, and secondly, it's from Buffalo. She's from Buffalo. I think Beth Phoenix wins.
As much as I totally agree with you guys, I'm totally disagreeing here. And I'm going with Kelly.
Oh, boy. Alright, so now I move on to the World Heavyweight Championship. Randy Orton takes on Mark Henry.
Mark Henry.
As you all know, I'm not able to watch SmackDown on a weekly basis because of my work, but
Excuses.
Yeah, I know.
DVR, man.
I
never really hold SmackDown picks against myself when I get them wrong, but I'm gonna have to say Mark.
They
Henry.
still count against you.
I know.
Mark
I'm gonna have
Henry.
to say Mark Henry.
So new world champion.
New world champion.
Again, I don't think Mark Henry's gonna win. I like Randy Orton, but obviously the impressive streak Mark Henry has been on as of late is obviously fearful for Orton. He's beaten Orton up the past couple times in the steel cage match on Raw, SmackDown, over and over, but I just think Randy Orton finds a way to hold that title, keeps Randy Orton champion.
Randy Orton's win. If they let an oversized chocolate bar win this match, I'm going to be very pissed off.
How can you take Mark Henry seriously for a man who had relations with Mae Young? Really?
Mae Young?
Really?
Really?
Mae Old. Anyway, so then move on to the WWE Championship match. John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio!
Alberto just got the title. I don't see him losing it.
I don't see him losing to John Cena. I see him maybe losing it, maybe Survivor Series or maybe Rumble, but I do think Alberto Del Rio becomes stage champion. I know that Raw is going to Mexico in a couple of weeks, pretty soon, so I think they're going to keep the belt on him so he can be champion when they go down there.
This is a tough one. I don't think it's as easy as you guys were making it out to be. And I say that, but it's
as he stalls with words.
I know. It's because it's tough.
It's a tough match, I agree.
It is a tough match. Alberto did just get the belt. John Cena has had the belt more times than I can count. But you never know what WWE's thinking. It is Night of Champions. One of the main titles should change hands I think Randy Orton stays champion, and as much as I hate to say it, John Cena is the new WWE champion.
And I think this match might be the main event. It's going to be CM Punk versus Triple H in a no disqualification match.
No DQ.
I'm going to stick with my gut and say that Laurinaitis has got something.
Yeah, I think CM Punk wins. I think there's interference from Nash.
Yeah.
And I think there's interference from Laurinaitis because I think this whole conspiracy around this thing, I think Laurinaitis was fine with McMahon being in charge, but now that McMahon's out of the way, I bet you he wants to be in charge. So I think there's going to be a way where CM Punk does win.
Right.
Triple H is no longer COO, and Laurinaitis takes over.
Right, and that's what I've been going through.
So I go with CM Punk.
I think that's what they're doing with the storyline.
Look in my eyes. What do you see? The cult of personality.
I see a bald man.
CM Punk is going to win this match.
And
Night of Champions.
One more match I'll mention because it's not finalized yet, but Night of Champions does have a match for every championship. Cody Rhodes, who is the Intercontinental Champion, I see maybe facing something
That's
like
because he's not epic enough to be on a pay-per-view.
even Future and Devin. Anyway, no, but I think obviously he'll probably have a match. He'll probably have some involvement because he is the Intercontinental Champion.
I know it could be Cody Rhodes.
He'll probably face someone like Ted DiBiase. So we'll see what happens with Cody Rhodes in that aspect.
You just wish.
I do.
I know.
So
When you wish upon us.
so what did you do this past weekend, Postmaster?
What did I do? Well, let's see. I went to that crappy U of L game on Friday. But
I do appreciate. I'm going to go out on our show and say I appreciate the tickets, but I was working. I'm sorry I couldn't come.
Yeah, no problem. On Saturday, I went with one of my co-hosts here, Big B. Me and Big B went and checked out the new movie Warrior.
Very entertaining.
Triple threat movie review.
Triple threat. No! It was an excellent movie.
Got to Postmaster a little bit at the
I
end.
did. I kind of cried at the
It's
end.
okay. It's okay.
Well, don't give any spoilers.
But the highlight. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The highlight was Koba. And they were like,
Who? Who's
Koba.
Who's Koba? Oh, you mean Kurt Angle?
Yeah, Kurt Angle. He played a Russian super middleweight that was supposed to be like the greatest in the world.
Yeah.
Come on, really? You didn't give him any speaking parts?
Kurt Angle had as many lines as this many. 0.
He had no lines in the movie.
That was the lamest joke I've ever heard in my life.
It might have been, but it's so true. But you know what was epic?
What was epic was...
But we won't tell you.
Oh, we can't.
We can't. Spoiler. We can't. You got to see the movie.
Check out the movie.
Was it a good movie?
It was a very good movie. Very entertaining.
Entertaining.
Maybe shortened it a little bit. They could have, the beginning of it could have been a little bit less drawn out.
Yeah.
But it was an excellent movie.
I enjoyed it.
And it did differ from previous fight movies from the standpoint of they kind of went outside the box on some things, did some things that kind of surprised you. So if you haven't yet, go to the theater, check out Warrior.
Very good.
Very good selection.
And you'll see what happens to Koba Angle, what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Do we have time for anything else, or are we done?
I think that's it for this week.
I think that about wraps it up.
So no idiot of the week, no wild card.
No idiot of the week.
How about we anoint you idiot of the week?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say both y'all idiots.
Oh, come on. At least we didn't see Creature. Oh.
Yeah, at least we didn't go see Katy Perry.
Hey, I will say, there were some gorgeous women, including my girlfriend Erica. There were some gorgeous women at that
Nice
concert.
save there.
I'd go again in a heartbeat. She puts on a hell of a show.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
She really does.
But obviously, this week, a lot of football going on, and obviously this Sunday is Night of Champions. Great week in sports and wrestling, and looking forward to it. So as always, you can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/triplethreattalk. You can follow us on Twitter at triplethreattalk, and you can send us any comment or question you have at triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. So for Triple Threat Talk, this is Big B.
And don't forget, the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup starts this Sunday, the Geico 400 at Chicago Speedway. I'm Postmaster Jones.
And I'm the doctor with the top dyno.
Thanks for watching, guys. See, enjoy Night of Champions, enjoy the football.
Adios!